Hello, everyone. Hope your July is still going well. It is almost over. Yeah, we only have 1 week left. Yep, 1 week left. It's crazy. I feel like all the months are just going by so fast, as always. With every year of my whole life, feels like everything's going by fast. As always, obligatory self promotion. What if I wrote the world? Poems inspired by music, written by me, your boy. Always linked in the description, always linked in my link tree. As always. So today we're here to talk about My Mom Jayne, directed by Mariska Hargitay, which is not her youngest child, but her youngest daughter. Her youngest child, his name is Tony, um, which we're going to get into that in a second. I'm going to talk about the synopsis. So it's a documentary, and the film examines the life of Hargitay's late mom, Jayne Mansfield, but it also does kind of go into her life as well. Obviously, that's her mom. She's going to talk about her own life and her own experiences with her mom and how her life has been since her mom has passed. Which I talked about in my short video or my YouTube short that Mariska was only 3 when her mom passed away. So, and she mentions in the film, I don't want to spoil too much because I honestly do think you should watch it, that she doesn't have any memories of her mom, which is really sad because she was so young when she passed away. So it was released June 20th, 2025, this year. You can stream it on YouTube, HBO Max, which this is going to be a little slight tangent. I thought they changed their name back to just HBO, but I think they changed something. But I think they changed the logo color or something. But I swear I saw, maybe I'm having a Mandela effect. I saw a tweet that said they were changing their name to just HBO again, unless it did not mean the app, because I've definitely updated it and it still says HBO Max. But I don't know, maybe my update is so behind or it's a Mandela effect. But yeah, that's where you can stream it. So you have a subscription there. You can watch it there. I'm going to get into the cast. Jayne Mansfield as herself from archive footage. Mariska Hargitay as herself. She's also the director. And then her brother, Zolan Hargitay, himself. Mickey Hargitay Jr. Everybody's going to be themselves, basically. Jayne Marie Mansfield, which is her oldest sister. And that was Jayne Mansfield's daughter from her first marriage. And I love that she named her Jayne as well. Women get them juniors too, okay? And then her stepmom, Ellen Hargitay, which was her dad's second wife. I think it was only his second. I can't remember if he had a wife before Jayne or not. So second or third. And then her press secretary, Raymond Strait, and then her youngest brother, Tony Simber. Yes, that's her youngest brother. So he's the youngest. I think there were 5 of them. Mariska, Zolan, Mickey, Jayne. Oh yeah. So she had 5 kids. All right, so I'm gonna get into my pros and my cons and my overall opinion. So my first pro is Mariska directing. I love that Mariska wanted to reclaim her and her mother Jayne's story through this documentary, especially because she was so young and I'm trying not to tell y'all everything, but I feel like I am. But she kind of early in her life, like slash career, she did want to distance herself from her mom because she felt like her mom was not really being her authentic self publicly, and also related to this big bombshell, which I am absolutely not going to spoil because I think you should watch it. Because I was like, I was shocked. I would say I was shocked, but not 100% surprised. Once you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because Jayne, she was doing whatever she wanted to do. So I'll give you a little hint. Whether she was married or not. So Anyway, where else was I? Where was I? Oh, she was a great director. She really dug deep to give us a clear picture of who they both were and are now. And she's definitely like showing like over the years of her life, like how much more she's accepted her mom's legacy, both good and bad, and really embraced her mom more than she had like before. Which I feel like it's like changing. When I see her acting and stuff, like I don't really feel like she would mention her mom. So this definitely checks out that I felt like she wasn't trying to be like her mom, but you could definitely kind of tell. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you could tell that she was like trying to build her own legacy. Is what I'm trying to say. And even though technically she's a nepo baby, but it is what it is. She's successful in her own right now, pretty much. Oh, I talked about this. A big bombshell in the documentary, and she expresses her pain and hurt of it very well. And then she shows the present day outcome of it, so it has like a full beginning, middle, and end for this big bombshell, like where it started, how what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end of it, like what's happening now. Which I guess it would be, I don't know when they filmed this, but maybe like last year, but I'm sure it's still the same, you know. I think she did a great job as director. Excuse me, as director. Another thing I loved was the interviews with her siblings and people who knew her mom. I love that she interviewed her siblings and they were able to have vulnerable moments together, which they definitely did. Of course, their mother has passed away and in a very traumatic accident as well. You know, so it's gonna be sad, vulnerable moments, which they were. And she was able to be there for her siblings and have them be there for her as well. She included everyone, and she interviewed everyone, including her stepmom, her mom's press secretary, and others as well, which are related to Bombshell. So I don't want to spoil too much. I love that we got to hear everyone's story about Jayne and what she meant to them. Especially the press secretary. I'm gonna talk about him later, but I mean, he had some good insight on her, but then also there were some things that I was like, why would you do that? So we're gonna get into him in the cons. But yeah, I love that everybody had a story about her and like how a way that they were like connected with her. Oh, next pro is the memorabilia. I love seeing all the Jayne Mansfield memorabilia. And I love that Mariska and her siblings got to look through. They had a storage unit, and they were able to take what they wanted, and um, well, I won't spoil it, but it was really nice seeing them see stuff from their mom and take stuff that they wanted and see like their lives basically with their mom and all these things that happened like throughout her life and all the stuff she has. So that was cool. Oh, and I love that uh especially Mariska at the end, she ended up getting two important things from her mom, so that was very touching. One of them is like a huge item, uh, but I won't spoil it. But Jayne could play two instruments she talked about in the documentary. One of them was a violin, and the one of them is related to the other thing that Mariska was able to get, but they're instruments. Um, but yeah, it was very nice, seeing them go through their mom's stuff and seeing uh particularly Jayne Marie, the oldest sister. There were some cards and stuff. It was really sweet. So that was really nice to see. And then my last pro is the archive footage. I adored seeing the old footage of Jayne and her family. And then you could contrast that from seeing her at home to her at movie premieres. And it was like so intriguing because, like, at home, I'm sure she was still probably putting on her, you know, blonde bombshell persona, dumb blonde persona. But also, you could see her, she's holding her children, she's playing. Like, you could see also like the motherly side and the fun side. not saying that that blonde bombshell wasn't fun, but you can obviously tell it's like a difference. But it was like really interesting seeing the contrast, especially when the older sister Jayne would talk about her mom uh, pre fame and like post fame. Uh, okay, I talked about that already. Okay, and I will say when Marilyn Monroe passed away, Jayne wanted to be taken more seriously, but I felt bad that no one wanted to take her seriously. Like nobody wanted that from her, and this clip pissed me off so bad. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit, but she's playing the violin. It's so like she has to tune it a little bit. It's so beautiful, and then the host is like, "Who cares? Just kiss me." Why were old white men who were like TV hosts and stuff always creepy? Like, why you want to kiss and a hug all the time from random people? What is wrong with you? And it was such a nice moment of her showing her other talent other than just being like sexy, you know? And she was trying to be taken more seriously, but it just didn't work out. And I really hate that for her. And I wish she had been able to fulfill her like a serious acting career. Like she had like serious roles. For example, like Jim Carrey, where he's able to like go from the comedy to the serious to the drama, that kind of thing. That's what she wanted. So I have one con, and it is the press secretary guy. So he wrote this tell-all book about the bombshell I mentioned earlier, and he didn't care how the kids would react, which is like, sir, you telling all these secrets. You don't think the kids would be like, what the heck is going on? What the hell is going on? He did not care, y'all. Um, that annoyed me because he used his relationship with Jayne as a way for fame for himself. Although, I'm gonna be honest, I do want to read the book. That makes me kind of a hypocrite on that point, lol. Uh, but he still should have thought about how it would affect others, though, because like you telling all these secrets about your friend, and some of these secrets her family doesn't even know. The kids don't even know, so that was a little crazy. Yeah, now, and I think I googled him. He's still alive. He's like 101. I'm like, that's crazy. Um, so yeah. He's still around, but yeah, I do think I read the book, but I also understand why it was messed up because it's like there are all these secrets that even her children didn't know, but now they're finding out from the book, and not from like anybody involved in the bombshell. So that was my only con. So my overall opinion is the documentary was very sweet, touching, and informative. It gave a lot of emotions and insight into both Jayne and Mariska's lives and their connection. Mariska was a great director and interviewer. She was really able to capture everyone's emotions and memories very well. Um, and it's very nice that they were talking, but they were intercuts of like old footage of them growing up and stuff, and it was really cool to see. And it was also cool to see like the big movie premieres and her in public and like the contrast there. Of course, like I said, the press secretary, he was a little catty to me. But other than that, everybody else was very emotionally invested. And I won't say that I guess, I mean, you could tell he knew Jayne and that they were like at least close, working wise. But I don't know if they really went into like really personal. You know what I mean? But he was there for like obviously a lot of things happening. Um, and I would say if you love if you love Jayne Mansfield, say that 5 times fast. If you love Jayne Mansfield, I would highly recommend this documentary. I would give this documentary a 10 out of 10. It makes me want to watch Jayne's movies and other documentaries, which I know a lot of her movies are on Tubi for free. So if you're interested in that, and then they have one really famous documentary. I think it's called The Wild World of Jayne Mansfield, which I think is like a really popular documentary about her. And I think it also shows like her house and all that. From what I remember, because I feel like I've watched it a long time ago, like early 20s when I was in college. So that was a long time ago. So I would watch it again. Okay, I want to analyze the dumb blonde typecast because I feel like that's where she got pigeonholed in. So I already talked about it a little bit that she wanted to change her image after Marilyn Monroe passed away to take it more seriously, and I want to dive into why it didn't work out more. Another thing Mariska mentions is this voice that Jayne used in public to portray the dumb blonde version of herself. And it's still something that happens today. Celebrities have to have like two of themselves in order to be successful and marketable. Like you have to have like your social media self and then your real self, or your performance self and then your real self, in order to sell yourself, basically. Um, and unfortunately, no one took Jane seriously, so she had to go back to the dumb blonde roles in order to get work. And seeing Marilyn Monroe pass away, I can't say what she thought exactly, but she probably was thinking, well, I want to have a different kind of legacy than just being compared to Marilyn Monroe, which she did admire Marilyn Monroe. And I kind of hate that they were like pinned against each other, and that Jane was called the poor man's Marilyn Monroe, which is like crazy, you know. Or there was a headline in the documentary that she was like better than Marilyn Monroe, and it's like, why can't women just be themselves? You know what I mean? Um, but Jane did admire her, so she probably was thinking about her own mortality and her own legacy, and that's why she wanted to be taken more seriously, you know. But then she was not getting those kind of roles that she wanted, so she had to go back to the dumb blonde roles in order to pay the bills, which sucks. Um, and I think it's because when you look conventionally attractive, no one thinks you have any other value other than you look good. And that reminds me, I saw a tweet the other day, this is related, of someone talking to someone who was really fine, but their personality wasn't great. And I think it's because when you're really attractive or you're really fine, I guess conventionally to the beauty standards, you probably don't really have to have a personality because you're fine. And that's what people are looking at. That's what people are expecting, that you're just fine. But then when they talk to you, you don't get a personality. So yeah. Um, so that's related to this. And especially how the media is still, even now, it's either you have to be brains or body, and you can't have both. Which, even though there are definitely people with both, and people are multifaceted. And I feel like Jane should have been able to be the serious actress she wanted to be, and not be typecast to pay the bills, which I mentioned that earlier. And I think over the years, actresses have been able to move out of their typecast to varying degrees of success, I will say. So, yeah, some of them did move out of the typecast. Were they successful or not? It does depend. But I wish if she lived, she could have known more success than just only playing the dumb blonde roles. I can't remember the name of the movie from the clip in the documentary, but she played a serious role, at least one. And Mariska asked, "Well, why didn't she play anymore?" And I can't remember if she asked the press secretary or if it was somebody else in the documentary that knew Jane, but they were like, "Well, she wasn't getting booked for them. Like there was not what people wanted her to see her in or hire her for." I feel like that's really unfortunate that like Jane did not get to have like a serious um role, or like a breakout serious role, you know. For example, like I'm gonna mention Jim Carrey again. With like the Truman Show, for example, that's like a good drama breakout role for him. Trying to think of some women. Uh my brain is just not connecting. But I feel like also, even though I'm comparing her to Marilyn Monroe, I feel like Marilyn Monroe towards the later end of her life did have more serious roles versus the comedy roles. So she was able to like break through a little bit. And my brain is just not thinking of any women who are comedians who broke through. And honestly, some of the comedians I'm thinking of, I don't really like. So I can't really like say whether they're these comedians like, broke through to other more serious roles. I'm trying to think. I just don't know why I can't think of anything besides Jim Carrey, but yeah, there's that. So, do you love Jayne Mansfield? Do you have a preference of her or Marilyn Monroe, or do you love them both equally? Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're gonna watch the documentary. I definitely recommend it. Um, it's really intriguing, really deep, really heartfelt. I would recommend it. Yep. And do you like Mariska Hargitay's acting? I liked her in SVU. I don't really watch it that much, but I think she's a great actress from what I've seen. And I feel like definitely she's had serious roles. I feel like maybe she's also done that to like contrast her mom's legacy, but now she's very accepting of it now. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.